take this out of my ears. I hope you can hear me. Here we go. Hi everyone, it's Lisa Wright once again coming to you from my studio here. Today's topic is why I have decided to no longer chase the algorithm and why I find this very important for me as a creator, but also from you as my audience and good loyal listeners. So basically what happened is that I started to do some self-discovery while I was creating content. And I started questioning whether or not I should create certain types of content because, as you know, there is a lot of chatter on the internet, especially on YouTube, about why you should stick to your niche or why you shouldn't step aside or do something different that you normally do on your videos because you're going to confuse the algorithm. But also why, if you have an outlier video that gets a lot of traction, why you should lean into that, because now you're designing the content of your channel, let's say around a certain viral video, and the topics then get skewed and turns away from what you're real passionate about. And even if you have something that you're talking about that is very important to you, doesn't get a lot of views, oftentimes you're told to well, maybe you might want to step away from that, or maybe you might want to try something different, or maybe your audience is getting confused. Also, because when you post something from your heart and it doesn't get a lot of views, you kind of discount the story, you discount the experience of what is just happened. Hello, dear. Welcome. Hi, LA and Banball Parker. Thank you very much. Hello, Kushlindra. Really welcome to my live. LA, yes, I can probably bake some good cookies. Today, what we're talking about is why I don't chase the algorithm here on social media. And one of the things I was talking about was, as you know, there's a lot of content creators out there, and there are a lot of gurus. Hello, welcome back from Russia. There's a lot of gurus out there who say that, that you don't want, the only way to grow is to feed the algorithm, whatever that means. And what happened is that I had a really good video go pop off, go viral. And thank you very much, Sienna. Thank you, and hello. Hi, Eloy. I had a video go off. That video went viral, and the video, I got monetized. And everybody says, well, you should have leaned into that video and created more content in order to grow an audience and boost your engagement and make even more money. But to be honest with you, that was an outlier video. That was a video of me just sharing my life. And I have many videos that I've put up about sharing my life that didn't get the same type of traction that video did. And I can understand why, but it really meant a lot to me on many of those videos. They had value for me, and they had value to the people who did watch them and who did comment, even though they didn't get a lot of views. And the thing is that because that other video went viral, and gurus are always telling you to, follow that viral video, I started questioning whether or not I should post things that brought me joy. Because they say, oh, if you create outside of what your audience is attracted to, you might confuse the algorithm and your video is not going to get a lot of reach. But if I take joy in creating the video and then editing it and makes me happy, and it makes me happy to put that video up for you, I don't want to be boxed in and just focusing on growing a channel or getting to 100,000. That's not my goal. My goal is to enjoy the process, grow with you, and share my stories. How viral those stories go, it doesn't make any difference. It's just something that comes from your heart. Today's topic is why I don't follow the algorithm. Thank you very much. Newbie, today's topic is why I'm not going to become a slave to the algorithm, and why I don't want to be a slave to all the gurus that are out there telling you what to do, how long to... I'm doing great, Yuri. The algorithm is basically the metrics in YouTube or on most social media that pushes your video out and finds an audience, and will decide whether or not to push your video out even further based on the response of that, the immediate response it gets from your audience or from non-subscribers. And the algorithm favors a lot of views because they want people to stay on the they want them to stay on the platform. And what I have noticed is, even though a video, I've seen things happen where, like, even if a video doesn't get immediate reaction, the great thing about just creating content that you love and that you share is that, thank you very much for the likes. That video is going to eventually reach an audience that will find joy in what you do. And, people will see it. So if you didn't get 1,000 views right away, there's a very, very likely chance you'll probably have 1,000 views 2, 3, or 4 months down the line, or maybe even years. Okay? That's what's important. Your good name and from life. Thank you. I have a question. Can you answer? If you have questions, please feel free to ask questions, because at the end of the day, you guys help me drive this live and also drive the conversation as well. Okay, so the question you asked really doesn't reference the video or the live that we're talking about. And so if you want to ask outside, this is not the platform, this is not the content for you. So you might want to talk to a relationships counselor, okay? Thank you very much. You guys are very cheeky, and I appreciate the cheeky questions. And we're going to put you in a little timeout. How about that? Thank you. If you just joined us, I am talking about not chasing the algorithms and creating content solely to get clicks, get views, and to grow my channel. It's about bringing joy and reaching an audience who takes joy and pleasure in the work that you do, and also serving that audience. It's very important. I am just cleaning out some of the users here. Here we go. All right. And so we can just go ahead and get started. I like what you said then, get a marriage counselor. I have coffee right now. Thank you for asking. This is coffee. This is donut coffee that I bought over at Costco. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Another thing is, I want to find fulfillment in creating content. I don't know if you create content. Let me know if you find fulfillment and you enjoy creating content. One of the things that I've been finding has been holding me back from creating content like blogging, or I should say vlogging, is because people say that the algorithms dictate, you know, how, or you need to follow what the algorithm tells you to do. Well, the other day I went and we went out to dinner. The other day I went and got a haircut, and I wanted to share that. And I felt really like I was second guessing myself whether or not I should share my story in getting a haircut, driving across town. Well, I was really compelled to create a video about it. And the video will be coming up tonight. And I was also really compelled to do a video about my husband and I going out to lunch and reviewing a lunch spot because I just felt like it. And if I follow the algorithms based on viral videos, I'll be sitting in this office 24/7 creating videos, about being semi-retired, collecting Social Security at 62, and, constantly talking and researching a topic that I may not even enjoy. But I do enjoy having lunch and talking about the food and sharing the experience with you. So I created a video about it, you know? Hi, Ayudu. Can you please say Gabby? I just did. um, and in general, that's basically you tell me that you are okay. You guys if you want to have a conversation with each other, we can. You guys can go to another place and enjoy your conversation. Okay? Um, let's do that as well. I'm really learning how to do this, okay? And if you guys know me, I'm Lisa Wright. I'm semi-retired, and I left my 9 to 5 over a year ago, and I did it without a plan. Would you like to see the painting that's behind me? I have a painting here from the movie Soul. 22 is my favorite character. I have two favorite characters from Disney. 22 happens to be one of them simply because I relate with her. 22 is from the movie, if you know, is a middle-aged ancient spirit, and she doesn't want to go, and she doesn't want to be born. She wants to be, she wants to continue to be an old ancient spirit, old soul. And she also tries to indoctrinate others to do the same. That you don't have to go to Earth and you don't have to find your purpose. She kind of like bucks all of that. And I really like her because she's very much like me. When everybody's going right, um, here you are, which is basically what I do, what we're talking about today, is not chasing the algorithms, not being a robot, in order to chase clicks. When everybody else is going right, I am one of those persons who consistently goes left. And it's a road less traveled. People say if you don't chase the algorithm and do what you should be doing to grow your channel, it's going to take forever. Okay, well then so be it. I have known some incredible creators, personally know them, who have their 100K plaque, and it's taken them 5-10 years to get it. And it's so nice because they've done a lot of self-discovery in the process of creating videos, and they've done something that they ultimately enjoy. And one of them, and this is how I finally figured not to chase the algorithm. How much time did you take to monetize your channel? 3 years. It took me 3 years to monetize my channel, which is pretty much in line with the 10,000 hour rule. I don't know if you guys know about the 10,000 hour rule, but the 10,000 hour rule is basically, let's talk about the 10,000 hour rule. It's how many realistic hours it normally takes for you to put into a project or your passion project before you start seeing the desired results. And the rule is, and this is a case study that was done, is 10,000 hours. Okay? Hi, Smith and Baby Diggs. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Okay? Um, and the 10,000 hour rule is broken down. If you put in 8 hours a day of consistent work to get the desired result that you want, you will see results in 3.4 years. Okay? If you put in 4 hours a day, and if you put in 4 hours a day, and the 10,000 hour rule applies, you will see results in 6.8 years. Now, if you put in it 2 hours a day or maybe 2 hours a week and you're just doing it, the results can be seen in decades. It's unknown. All right. So if you're really, really dedicated to make something happen, like I eventually wanted to get monetized simply because it was a goal that I set for myself. It took me over 3 years, I would say 3.2 years to get monetized. And that is in line with the 10,000 hour rule. And I think that that's really great way to look at anything in life. If you want something bad enough, you're going to either go alls out, right? So if you put in 10, 20 hours a day to achieve your goal and the 10,000 hour rule applies, then you'll probably see that goal within a year. Okay, but one of the most important thing is to consistently be authentic. And also, you don't want to burn yourself out at the end of the day. And I've heard from a lot of creators who were constantly chasing the algorithm and burning themselves out, that they lose themselves, they lose their purpose as to what originally is what they wanted to do. And it's frustrating, and you kind of lose yourself in everything. And it's really important to stay focused on what your intentions are. And also, if you're chasing certain plateaus or you're chasing certain goals, I think the hardest part is when you reach that goal. Oftentimes you have to go, okay, what's next? All right. And is it possible for me to pivot and do something that I really love? There was a woman that I saw about 2 years ago. And when I started this, I started on the make money online niche. And there was this woman that I met. And she was creating the content that she was told to do. And she was following the scripts and doing all kinds of stuff. And she was making money, but she didn't enjoy it. So I remember we were in a Q&A in a coaching call. And in this coaching call, she got to be highlighted. I am living here in Southern California. Thank you for asking, Nano. She got to be highlighted in the coaching call. And she had hinted that she really wanted to try something different. And so she said to the coach, I would really like to pivot and change up my content. And I'm thinking about doing that. What do you suggest I do? And the coach, let me let the dog out. And the coach, who was the creator of the course that she was selling, said to her, because you're so successful and you're making money, I wouldn't suggest you change anything. I think you just need to keep going down this track in this selling the course, make money online. You do really good with it. And her face just melted right there. Her whole body, you can tell that she really wanted to do something and she was asking for advice, like how she could switch it up because she was probably getting burnt out. Who wouldn't want to just be creative? She may have been a very creative person. And, however she got involved with Make Money Online, that's how she got involved. But she just looked really sad at that moment. And you could see, yes, I am Southern California. Thank you. She got really sad. And guess what? She's not creating content anymore at all. She's dropped out, and I don't see her anywhere. And that happens to a lot of people when you're not doing something that's authentic to you and you're not sharing your heart, and it's really important to do that. I got also started in the Make Money Online, and when I didn't like it, I quickly pivoted. And everybody said, oh, if you're going to pivot, you should create a new channel because you're going to confuse your audience. I didn't. I stuck with my channel. I just changed my name. I think I went from Lisa Wright 888 for whatever reason I did that. And I went to It's Lisa Wright and started creating a brand for myself and started telling stories about life and about how life has many challenges, but it's all how you handle it and how you come out of it that makes a big difference and how it really transforms you and how you should learn from life's challenges instead of rejecting them. You should really lean into life's challenges because there is so much wisdom and so much strength to be gained when you lean into a challenge and you embrace it and you look to a challenge as a gift as opposed to fighting it, or being a victim of it. You get to this place in life where you realize later, if you embrace a challenge, a real challenge in life, you get to a place in life down the road when you look back at those challenging moments that you lived through and you finally are able to say, you know what? All of those things that happened, it wasn't happening to me. It was happening for me. And it can literally transform your entire outlook. Like, imagine losing your home. Like me, losing my home in Southern California, living by the ocean, living by the water. And then you go to a tiny little apartment in inland, okay, away from the water. And you start embracing it. And you discover new things about yourself. You discover that maybe you enjoy hiking as opposed to playing out on the water in the beach. Wow, you really like to see that, you really love that. Or, and you feel like you're renewed, you have renewed energy. And it opens up new perspectives for you. I could have left California and moved to New Mexico with my mom. And oftentimes I look back and think that may have been a big opportunity for me, but I didn't do it. I stayed in California. And sometimes I've asked myself why. And I think the real reason why is because I got married again and I found an incredible husband who loves me very much and who I am fulfilled with. And we have a good life together. Okay. And that marriage, that story marriage will come at a later date because it's a whopper. I'm going to tell you. Hi, Abid Rahman. Welcome. Welcome to the live. I appreciate you being here today. I'm drinking coffee and I'm sharing how I don't chase the algorithms, and I just want to talk and bring joy in my content creation as being a content creator. Now, I don't know if you guys know some of the reasons why I get really jazzed about going live is hi Pankcha Pang, if I don't say your name right, I apologize, but Pankaj Joshi. Hello. Hi Arifia. Um, I use ChatGPT to help me write my scripts, but also help me write my outlines for my live. And if you guys use ChatGPT, let me know in the comments because I've really embraced the process of chat. I actually love how chat gets to know you and well, welcome from Pakistan. That chat gets to know you based on how you interact with it. And you can invite chat to your channels and ask it to review your channel for you, but also create content based on the channel that you put in. So I'll go to chat and I'll say, well, based on what you know about me, um, what kind of content should I talk about today? And I will tell them this is what I'm really in the mood for, and I'll say I'm thinking about talking about not chasing the algorithm. My heart says to do this. And I'll tell exactly the way chat knows me. I'll tell them my heart is telling me to talk about not chasing the algorithm. Can you write an outline for me based on what you know about me? And it's great. So chat just comes up with a response and it says, and it also gives me some encouragement too. It says, here's an outline for your live session why enjoying the creative process matters more than the algorithm. Plus, here's some space that you could talk about the future of your channel and your focus and your authentic content creation. So it knows that I really do like to be authentic and, stay true to who I am. And he says the goal, well, I call him he. I don't know if you have a name for your chat, but he says, here's a title you might want to go with, Creating for Joy, not just for the algorithm. And the goal is to shift the conversation from your audience about not chase the conversation from chasing algorithms to finding fulfillment in content creation and why you want to share what your channel's future about. So, I have taken to going live because I really want to experience more organic engagement and I really want to see who my audience is and actually create a live audience that's going to look forward to seeing that engagement and attract people who want to engage, okay, and be a part of the show. So this is the reason why I enjoy going live. Because I'm going live, it's really helping me design a topic and then I'll create a video about the topic. This is how I'm working. This is what I'm thinking about my channel is create a video and then go live second about the video. And then from the live, you can come up with really inspiring topics to create about. And then it kind of just like loops together. I enjoy weaving my stories and weaving my personal experiences with you so I could share my journey. One of the reasons why I'm not chasing the algorithms, and I'm not going to recommend it for other people. I'm just sharing what I'm doing, and I hope it inspires you if you're a creator, is the burnout issue. I really don't want to suffer from burnout talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Just like that really nice lady who was talking about making money online over and over and over again. She was getting burnt out, okay? So that's one of the frustrations that happens when you're just chasing the algorithm, all right? Another thing is you lose your authenticity and you lose your passion when chasing the algorithm, because you're taking your eye off of what really matters in general. You're also taking your eye off of why you probably did this in the first place. Now, people who want to make content and talk about, who want to make content to make money or just to talk about how much money they're making on making content, eventually are going to get burnt out, and their audience is going to get burnt out too, because the audience is going to go, oh, you're just, that's the clickbait right there. And that's what I'm caught up into, seeing you and how much money you make. Oh, what if I were to try it too? This person talked about getting monetized in so many months, or, and that's all they talk about. And I'm going to try it too. And then it doesn't work out for you. And then the next thing you're frustrated, because who knows if they really are making that kind of money, right? So those are things you need to be careful of. Then, if you're chasing the algorithms, what happens is, let me share this with you. You get up every day and you look to see how many views you got and how many comments you got, or, every day. And you either get excited or you either get frustrated. I don't want to react like that. I want the joy of putting up the video and just saying, if anybody sees it and takes joy from it, then that's all that matters. Okay? That's my body of work. And I don't want to get frustrated with the numbers, and I don't want really I don't want it to be a numbers game, because I worked like that for 30 years. I worked with following the rules. You got to show up at a certain time 5 days a week, and you have to perform certain tasks every single day, and you have to be, perfect. You can't make mistakes, and, your compensation, which is very similar to YouTube, your compensation will depend on your overall performance, right? So you're kind of like a slave to your job. I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm, right? Um, I do want to focus on storytelling and personal experiences in life, sharing the quality of life that I have being semi retired, and that it is possible to enjoy your life like you did when you were youthful in semi retirement. I have I have very, very cheap passes to Knott's Berry Farm. I'd like to go to Knott's Berry Farm, and guess what? I'd like to share that experience with you. Algorithms say that, Lisa, you are not a theme park vlogger. So if you video you going to a theme park, you are going to throw off your algorithms and your audience is going to get confused. But it's something that I desire and that I want to do. And so I'm going to do it anyway because it makes me happy. And when you're happy, your audience feels the same way too. Okay. Also, when you don't chase the algorithms, you're also more inclined to talk about things that you normally would not talk about had you just been in niche, or had you just focused on one particular trend, right? It's really good to just like share your mission, share your messages, whichever those messages may be, because you grow and reinvent yourself every single day, every single minute. You're a new person, okay? Um, and every single minute, you have a new perspective. You have a new way to react, a new life. You're a new you every single minute. So it's important to also keep that beat going in your content. I love that. You also want your content to align with the person that you are. You know, you, why would you let's say you had a viral video go off about doing Pilates, but you don't really do Pilates, but one day you did Pilates and that video went nuts, right? Well, why are you continuing to do videos about Pilates simply because you had a viral video when you're not a Pilates expert? Or, it's just, it's bizarre. And people do these things. And then they start to lose some traction, and then they're think, oh my god, what am I going to do? I got to go viral again. That's all they think about. Also, they think about going viral all the time. Virality, when you're not chasing it, at the end of the day, it will chase you. Which is your favorite skin? Okay. um David Jones, appreciate you, David. Well, Diddy, welcome to the show. I'm sure you have a performance you need to go take care of, so why don't you go do that? Okay? Thank you for being here. If you guys are encouraged to share your personal experience creating content, feel free to do that as well. Okay? But let's try to stay on topic. How about we do that? If you want to also have more meaningful discussions, we can do that too. All right. As for any upcoming projects, I am going to Kauai mid of this year. So that's an upcoming project. I'll be sharing the experience with you. I'm also going to be sharing the experience of how midlifers travel. Um, you know, and at the end of the day, and we've had this conversation before, I don't feel like I'm going to be 60 this year. I still run around with my Vans, my jeans, my t-shirt, and my hoodie, which is very basic kind of like attire here in Southern California. And even though I'm gray because it's my authentic hair color, I don't feel like an old, what was considered back in the day as an old grandma. I don't feel like it. So I'm going to be sharing that trip with you. I've been there before. I did share a trip years ago, and I did a little vlogging. And I'm curious to see how my vlogging changes 2 years later, because I hope it's even more impressive. And I did a lot of stuff on TikTok too. Okay. Let me know if you've ever felt burnt out, either it be your job or maybe in a hobby that you do. Okay. And tell me why you may have been burnt out, why you may have been burnt out, the possibility of chasing trends and things like that. Okay. And also, if you'd like, you can share some of the wins that you've had on today's live, and, how you enjoy your hobbies and what type of enlightenment they've brought you. Let's keep going. So, if you do know me, my channel's core mission is how to find fulfillment beyond the 9 to 5, and how to find fulfillment from not just work. You need to find, I'm gonna open up a can of soda right now. There you go. You need to find, fulfillment in just pretty much everything. And you know what? I want to share something with you. If you're working and the office place or the experience is very toxic and you're unhappy, I think it's a really good time for you to consider other options. And don't have fear in looking for another job or looking for another career. Okay? Don't fear that. Embrace it, because that's a sign telling you that you shouldn't be there. All right? I've worked in extremely toxic workplaces and very unhappy. You had that feeling like you're trapped. You have that feeling like you can't even think straight, and it consumes you. If you're consumed with your job and you bring the stress and the mental pressure home with you, then that job may not be the right place for you. And you might want to think about pivoting to another type of career or finding another place to do that same work, especially if you enjoy the work. Or you might want to chase your own dream, you know, do something on your own, do something creative. Hi, Alexander, welcome to the live. And do something that's meaningful if you feel like that. Also, don't let your work define you. I let my work define me for a long time, like 30 years. And I want to share something with you today. Today, I cleaned out some old drawers that I have. And I found all these business cards. These are business cards that I've collected over the years from my industry that I was in. And they are all industry related business cards. And I cannot tell you how simple it is to literally toss these business cards out. But in here is experiences, desires, customers, and relationships I've established over the years that are no more. When you leave the industry, your customers, all the industry people that you know, they're gone. And all the energy that you put in to your work and the frustration and the anger and the anxiety and all the money that you put into your job is in a business card that, by the way, please give me money. You're going to take it and you're going to clean out the trash. 30 years just went into this bucket of trash that will end up in a landfill. What's it like working in the industry as a, I don't know about that, but if you want to share your story about working in the industry, feel free to do that. And I know you're just being cheeky, okay? Hello from India. Welcome to the live. I'm just enjoying talking with you guys, to be honest with you, and sharing some wisdom about those business cards that are all went in the trash. And even some of my business cards went in there. You know what I mean? Also, it's like, check this out. Check this out. All those business cards, all the money, the time that you invested, all the people that you once knew, who you thought were your friends, that you hung out with, I don't see any of them anymore. You know, I left and now I have to make my own life, my own experiences, you know. And the last thing you want to do is have that break the way it goes when people retire and it's a shock to your system. And if you put all your purpose in your work, whatever your title was, the business that you go to, the building that you drive to every day, if you put all of your purpose in that, and then all of a sudden you're done, it's you retire, or maybe you got laid off and something unexpected happened, you really need to make sure that you have the foundation around you to continue to live out your purpose. And you do that by not making your job your define you. Okay? You do that by constantly living out your purpose in life, what was intended for you. And if you don't have one, you seek it out. Okay? and you take risks by doing that. So, and I know a lot of people, who are doctors saving lives. You can identify with me in engineering. You still have Lisa, pleasant day. I can identify with you. My area is engineering and you still have them. Understood. Yep. Yes. Thank you, El Mangro. Thank you for sharing that. You know, and say you still have them, I'm wondering if you mean your business cards. I even threw out my business cards. Also, I want to know, since I haven't really been in the industry in a few years, do people still use business cards? Do they still use business cards? Hi, Aaliyah. Welcome. Thank you. Yes, I said hello. Thank you, Leah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Um, I'm living in Southern California. But do people still use business cards? It just seems like so archaic these days for people to use business cards. I really do. I know there's so many other ways people can connect. People can connect through QR codes where all your information is there. Take somebody straight to your, somebody's here from Japan. Welcome. You can also take somebody with the QR code straight over to your journey as a creator or as a um, business owner, and you can share your business, right? And also, do people actually have websites anymore? People are very serious about their business cards. That is true. I want to share. I my old boss. I had an old boss who was Asian, and let me just share with you. Let me get one of these business cards I just threw in the trash. When I was in international trade, business cards were the thing. And the Chinese would present to you, I'm gonna change it so I have a person's name in there, would present to you their business card very formally. And I always loved that. What is my occupation? I am semi-retired, but I'll tell you what I used to do because I live here in Southern California is I did international trade. I was an importer and exporter of perishable goods all over the world. Product would come in, and I handled the inbound traffic, and I also handled outbound traffic. Um, and it was ocean and air. I handled both, and its products came from all over the world, in and out. And it was a great job. Seemed very exciting at the time. Um, I eventually needed to slow down because I was getting older and I was getting a little bit more stressed out about things. And also, not only was I getting a little bit more stressed out, hi Teddy, I appreciate your input. Thank you so much. You're an amazing person. But because I was getting stressed out, a lot of the people in my industry I was aging with were also getting stressed out. I even knew some people who had passed because of the stress. And it was really important some people even have breakdowns because of the stress. And it's really important to acknowledge and recognize that that was a possibility. And so I slowed down. I slowed down by taking a micro job, a job with very much less pay. People couldn't believe it. And I did that for about 5 years. And I noticed that I was even, thank you very much. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you. And I noticed that I was slowing down even in that job because my life was changing. One of the things was my mother came to live with me, and she was in her late 80s at the time. She's now in her early 90s. And if you've seen my mom, she's been in a few videos, and we're going to share some of her life with you too. But she's 91 now. And living with me, I've noticed the one thing mom really wants is to spend time with us. And so I eventually cut my hours to spend a little bit more time with mom, but also to watch over her because she's having more and more difficulty moving around. My boss didn't like it. He really resented it. He kind of dangled it over my head, making it as though I owed him something. And whenever I tried to either get more time off or not show up to work or kind of be a little distracted because I was caring for my mom, he would get very angry with me. And that anger would show. And he would use that anger out um, in front of my colleagues, in front of customers, on the sales floor, and, very abusive. So I started stressing out about it and literally trying to avoid, um, kind of like creeping around, trying to avoid my boss. And it got so bad that eventually some things happened at work and I had to leave. I also worked in a very toxic area. I worked in downtown Los Angeles near Skid Row. And that's a planet. I mean, it's like going to work on Mars. Okay. I know we don't know Mars, but you know, if, if Mars was any, I, relation to a city in the world, it would probably be a portion of Skid Row. It was dinner and a show, very violent, a lot of homeless on the street, a lot of people with doing drugs. It was just very, very, very bad. And I remember my doctor before the pandemic hit. I had my physical in March of that year when the pandemic hit. And I remember my doctor sharing with me, saying, because they didn't have a way to treat it yet. And so we were talking about the flu. And she says, I really worry. I want to make sure you get, taken care of. You get something for the flu. And she said, I really want you to, before you leave here, I want to make sure you're safeguarded from the flu. And we talked about it back and forth. And I elected to not. And she said, well, I just want you to know, have you ever had the flu before? And I said, yes. And she says, well, the situation that's coming is going to be very similar. And if you get it, you're probably never going to forget it. I said, if it's anything like the flu, I completely understand. And, it happened. And we all, and I got it. And yeah, it's a condition. It's like a flu that you never forget. But getting to that, I told her where I worked. I told her that I worked downtown near Skid Row. I told her that they would clean the streets with water. And she freaked out. She was like, oh my God. It's as though it was worse than the pandemic that was coming at the time because they closed everything down later that month. And she said, you got to have your hepatitis B shot. No, you don't understand. You got to have it. I want to make sure you get it. Or your hepatitis A or whatever it was. And she's like, I need to make sure you get that. And I told her, I said, if there's anything I'm going to do for you is I will get that. And she said, thank you very much. And she said, please take care of yourself. She was more concerned about that than anything else. That's the type of environment that I was once working in. And I did an about face. I walked out one day and, hi, ex Noah, welcome back. And I never went back. And that was my 9 to 5 life. 30 years, this is what I have to talk about. International trade and working on Skid Row. 30-year experience. Of course, that's just like typical of LA. But I did that for a long time. And I never looked back, and it was scary. My hands were shaking. I did not have a backup job. And I knew that, you know what? What am I drinking? Kirkland sparkling water. This is lime. It's calorie free. Thanks for asking, ex Noah. Yeah, I'm just drinking lime sparkling water. Let me know in the comments if you've ever quit a job. And hello from England. Hi, Big T. Welcome. Let me know in the comments if you've ever quit and if you didn't have a backup plan. Because that's the first time I ever quit a job, to be honest with you, like that, where I just walked out. I came home and I had given my husband some forewarning. I said, I'm going to be leaving the job this week. And oh, he really stressed out about it. He was very nervous because I had not found work in a few weeks. And I said, I had mapped out the money and I had said, okay, let's see. I'm no longer driving to work because this happened like 3 years ago, where you remember, if you live here in the US, gasoline prices went through the roof. So imagine this. I started doing the math. I said, if I work closer to home, how much is that going to be in gas savings? At the time, it was going to be about $250 a month. I want to share with you that I found a job so close to home. I put in about less than 20 miles a day. I think my commute is 8 miles one way, so let's say it's 16 miles a day. And I only work 4 days out of the week. So 16 miles a day times 4. I was doing like 50 plus miles a day, to be honest with you, with my 9 to 5. And there was one time I was doing 100 miles a day. Crazy, right? Round trip. Now I do 16 miles a day. And so 16 miles a day, 4 days a week. I put in 64 miles a week times 12 months. No, 64 miles a week. Let me run that back again. Times 4 weeks, 256 miles a week. What are your thoughts on, I don't know. Guys, let's be serious. Come on. I put in 64 miles a week going back and forth to work right now. And that's 256 miles in a month. That's a tank of gas for me. So I now fill my tank up once a month. Whereas most people fill their tank ups, every week? Or maybe twice a week for some people, based on what they do. And my last fill was $47. So if you're paying like $250, $300 a month on gas, and now you're just paying $47 for the entire month on gas, that's an extra $200 in your pocket. Thank you so much for the happy faces. Thank you. Those are things to consider. I was paying close to $500 a month on auto insurance. Here you go, baby. Going back and forth to work, paying for 2 vehicles, paying for my husband's vehicle. And now that I transferred I work closer to home, I pay $350 some odd dollars for auto insurance. So we're talking about that's not 200, and that's a $200 saving right there. So basically, and then I have a hoopty, and the car's paid for, so I don't really have to worry about that. So basically, then at the end of the day, you're working to just pay for your vehicle, and then to pay for your insurance, and to pay for your gas. I mean, think about that. Lisa, I enjoy your company when I catch you, however you are. You're a great Renaissance person. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. That's so sweet. Thank you very much, Mangru. Thank you, El Mangru. And I started looking at it. I started crunching the numbers. It didn't take me very long to crunch those numbers, because the Shiite went down on a Wednesday at work. Nice to see you live again. Thank you very much, Arav Anad. The situation went down in that week when the boss came after me, and it was like on a Wednesday. And then on the I started crunching the numbers and trying to rationalize me getting out of there. The only problem I had really was the seriousness was um, my medical, because I was paying for medical for both family members, my husband and myself. Luckily, I didn't have any kids. And, I said, well, if I quit this job, we're going to lose our medical. And I was, oh, medical. Good Lord. I was paying $1,300 a month for Kaiser health insurance because I felt that we needed to have really good health insurance, especially for my husband. And what are your thoughts about Lamar on Super Bowl? Especially, I don't know about the the last part. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, my friend, but I do know his music. You have to understand, my friend, I'm from Southern California and I'm in my late 50s. So, rap music is part of my life and it's a part of me growing up. And I think that he's very talented and I love the music in general. I love his album, the last album that he did. So, yeah, it's really good. And yeah, I listened to it. Okay. I'm here in Long Beach. If you know Long Beach, and I've been here in Southern California my whole life. Okay. So I love that music in general. Um, anyway, let's just keep going here. What's my favorite song? Well, I don't listen to. Can you give me a shout out? SpongeBob Square. How did you get that name, SpongeBob SquarePants? How did you get that name? And I just gave you a shout out. I was Tupac Shakur is one of my favorite artists, and unfortunately, I was in Vegas when the situation happened. I was at the MGM, and it was weird because I remember us coming out of the casino. I was young; I was in my 20s. I remember us coming out of the casino, walking down the street, and that was back in the day when you had buckets of quarters. Okay, and so you would play slots, and everybody would walk around in their with their buckets. Um, but yeah, I remember, and it was eerie, very eerie when it happened, and it was very sad. And I lived through um, Kurt Cobain's situation. That was heartbreaking. One of my favorite musical artists and bands is Pearl Jam, and I do love Beck, and I love a lot of rap. I have to say, because I grew up with it. Period. Can you give me a shout? I just did. It's your brother's favorite show. I love that. And I've never watched a Square Bob. Rob says, what? He says, that must have been a terrible night. It was. And it was really on the down low. Like, we knew a situation had happened. And because when you're in the area and something happens, you're not up to what's going on in the news, right? You're in Vegas. Um, and so when we came home the next day, that's when we found out about it. Um, and I was living in LA at the time, West LA, when that happened. And hello, Constipated Cow. You guys sound like your names are hilarious. Seriously hilarious. Just have fun with your names, okay? But when you're ready to create content and when you're ready to start getting serious and talking about your lives, I highly suggest you change your name. I highly suggest you change your name. But your music choices do change over time. I would tell you one thing. I took a huge break listening to music in 2000, like the mid 2000s, early 2000s to mid 2000s. Literally, you could tell me about an artist, and I would look at you and say, I have no idea who you're talking about. I stopped listening. Thank you. Yeah, keep that in mind. Oh, you must have listened to All Eyes on Me. Um, oh, that's great. My husband and I have a whole collection of rap artists on our tunes, and like we have like the rawest of the raw, and we love it. It keeps us grounded, but hey, what can I say? Um, my husband. I'm going to share a story with you. Let's close the door, shall we? Let's close the door. All right. So, if you guys want to hear a story, my husband, I got divorced. My husband and I split up in 2008, 2010. He didn't want to be married anymore. And at the time, I kind of like just stayed to myself, but I really wanted to be in a relationship again. So, I put my name out on eHarmony. And I don't even know if eHarmony is still around. eHarmony, is it still around? Yeah, it's still around. Okay. And I wanted to date again. Boy, oh boy, was dating hard when you're in your late 40s. Okay. But I met somebody on eHarmony, and I'm married to him now. But I want to share something with you. You never know what life brings you. I met him in 2014 on eHarmony. eHarmony is where if you don't know, you meet people online, and it's done in a very safe space. So there's none of that, well, let's just go out. Not like, what do they call that? Plenty of fish? It's not like that. It's a lot more reserved. So you talk to people via through the website, and there are no personal information exchanged, and you're 100% right on that, Lisa. And there's not, your information is not exchanged right away, and there's no sharing personal information until you reach certain stages of communication. Well, I liked the way he wrote, and I thought that he was very insightful. Okay, so we're talking, and we're messaging each other. And I was telling a friend, this is how it went. He wrote something in there, and it made me question. And he wrote, I said, well, how did you become an addictions counselor? And he said that many years ago, he had done something, and unfortunately, somebody got hurt. And he said that he has been trying to, basically right the wrong for as long as he can. And it really changed his life forever. Who's my favorite rapper? Oh, well, I said it. I love Tupac. Tupac is one of my favorite rappers. I'm sorry. I thought that I had told you that. Um, so he wrote something, and he said, he did something, and somebody's life, somebody got really hurt from something that he did, and that he's been trying, to right the wrong his entire life. And by doing that, he is an addictions counselor. Thank you, Arav. So I thought that was amazing. And he was an addictions counselor in LA. So we started talking. And I shared that with a friend of mine. And I said, I really like this person. I'm thinking about, I don't have a favorite from Tupac, except for California Love, where he did that collab. That is an amazing song. And that song will be iconic forever. He's an icon. And that's a fantastic song, by the way. And some of the stuff that he shares in that song about Chucks and the shoes thing is very true. In Southern California, we wear our Chucks or we wear our Vans. And then he was talking, I think the people in Northern California, they wear their loafers. And it's very true. Like, look at my attire, you know? We're talking about hoodies and tennis shoes, you know, just running around with our chucks on. So, anyway, my friend said, huh, she said, somebody got hurt. Interesting. Well, she says, I go, I'm thinking about meeting him. We're going to meet up. And she said, well, do me a favor. She says, just be careful. Wow, Lisa, you know rap all right. Yeah, I do. And that's a very iconic song. So he says, before we meet, let's talk on the phone. Dr. Dre cooked on the beat. Great beat. And they're like my age now. Let's see, how old is Dr. Dre? Let's find out, guys. Dr. Dre age. Dr. Dre, he was born in February 1965. He just turned 60. Dr. Dre, no, Dr. Dre is 60 years old today, this month. He was born in 1965. I was born in 1965. Yeah, it's right here. February 18th, 1965. Yeah. Snoop Dogg's 53. Yeah, Dr. Dre and I were born in the same year. And was he born in Los Angeles? Let's find out. Yes, he was born in Compton, and I was born in Inglewood. So there you have it. I'm going to be 60 this year, just like Dr. Dre. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, his full name is Andre Romel Young. And he was born in 1965 in Compton, California. And I was born in 1965, Inglewood. We're both born in LA County. No, I'm telling you the story about my husband right now. So, my husband, we get on the phone and we talk. And he's telling me his life story. And he's telling me his life story because we are about to meet. Thank you. If you tell me I look 55 at most, I appreciate it. Well, what I find out is, like me, he's a native of California, my husband. My husband is also from Northern California, but he came down from Southern California. How did he get down here from Southern California? Because when he was released from a 27-year prison sentence, they sent him down to California for his reentry program. And I'm telling you right now, what are the odds? What are the odds that you would meet somebody on eHarmony who served, was ex-con, prison sentence? He told me the whole thing. Why he went away, what happened, everything. I couldn't believe it. West Coast, I just couldn't believe it. I was like sitting there like this. I just was, my eyes were on the phone. I married an ex-lifer, and he worked very hard to get out of prison. He was a lifer. He was probably going to die there had he not changed his life and made amends for what he did and was really truthfully sorry for what he did. There's only 3% of people who are lifers that are ever released from prison every year. Less than 3%. And he was one of those 3%. And he was born and raised in California. He's only 1 year older than me. He says, Rob says, I'm not talking to you. If you guys just, let's all be cool and respectful, okay? Because I'm telling a story that is pretty, that's life-changing. Had he not making amends and learned how to be sorry, truthfully sorry for it, and do whatever it is he does now to make up for what he did to that person, it changed his life forever. And he continues to service and help people. And he's also rehabilitated a lot of young men who are also have the risk of going to prison because of their drug use or because of the way they choose to live in crime. And he does a very good job at rehabilitating them. A lot of family members come to him and say, my son, let's just use the word, my son is a knucklehead. And if he keeps going down the road he's going, he is going to probably end up in prison. And my husband's a coach and he helps them. And his story is a very strong one at best. He says oftentimes it's the family who are the ones who also need to be rehabilitated too, and because they get trapped in the same cycle um, of either enabling like a drug addict or an alcoholic, and they become a victim of that constant spin, and that they also need to be rehabilitated as well. He says, yes, the story is eye opening and changing my life every second. Thank you for engraving such bombastic deviances in my brain. Oh, Arav. Oh my God. Have you listened to Kendrick's albums like Good Kid, Mad City? We've all listened to his album. We've listened to Kendrick. We've listened to everybody. I have too. Um, you can't avoid it. Let's keep going. Anyway, so yeah, that's my story. And Lance and I have been together we've been together ever since, and we're married. And his story is very inspiring, and he helps people. And that's all that really matters. You know, that's the whole point about why I'm here on YouTube, why I create content. It brings me purpose, to share a story. It brings me a great deal of love. And um, I really feel like this was my purpose now, to share all my wins, my losses, my struggles, because everybody's going to go through something. When I went through my something, um, I would say my dark night of the soul, that's what I call it. I felt alone and I didn't know what I was going through. And when years later, after I held on to and overcame a very bad situation, having this platform, social media, I felt so alive once again. And I had this incredible desire to share what happened to me so that it can inspire you if you're ever going through it, that you know that you're going to be okay. The dark night of the soul is a movement in your life that leads you to a new life. It's just an incredible way of reinventing yourself, you know? It's is what's your favorite song? Okay, so Arav, I love you, but I'm gonna have to give you a timeout. I really do. Bye. You cannot not help not sharing your story, especially if you have this desire inside of you to do that. And this desire to be a part of something that's much bigger than yourself. So I encourage any of you who, and especially the ones who would like to troll, I want you to know, and I know you probably can't see me, maybe, who knows. If you like to troll and get a rise out of people, I want you to know that you are not invincible. I want you to know that you are going to have your challenges in life as well. And lo and behold, there's going to be a moment in your life where you're going to be searching online, whatever it is that you're going through. And I pray and hope that my story comes up and shares with you and helps you through those struggles. Because even though you love to come on here with a particular cheeky name and love to dig and ask questions and have a good time, you are still vulnerable just like everybody else. And you need to understand that when you're searching, you'll probably find someone like me helping you along the way. Okay? Yes, Joseph, I totally understand. Stop the cow. Okay, here, do this. There you go. Hi, Sana. Hi, Sana. Welcome. So, yeah, that's basically, my story. It's something that I would love to share. I've done little TikToks about how my husband taught me how prisoners fold laundry. He's taught me how to make prison pruno, and how prisoners cook. People in prison cook. You know that they'll use like a sharp credit card or whatever card. Oh, thank you very much, Sana, to cut their food. Because the cute story is when my husband first came home, they sent this man. Imagine being 27 years in prison and you don't have a phone. Um, you don't know, right, about transportation because he went away when he was 20. And they put him on a bus. They gave him a few shekels, put him on a bus from Stockton, and he took this bus from Stockton down to Los Angeles because that's where his transitional house was going to be. Um, it was like a religious center, and they dropped him off downtown LA in the middle of Skid Row, and he didn't have a phone, and he needed to call the person who was going to be like his sponsor, and he didn't know how to do it. So he didn't know how to use, he needed a payphone, but payphones haven't been around for like ever, and they're not in downtown. So somebody said, would you like to use my phone? And imagine never handling a iPhone, and or just like a mobile phone, right? Somebody's mobile phone. And he was like, he didn't even know how to dial and use it. So the gentleman was kind enough. I just keep yapping about your. Okay, so here, sweat, have an incredible time, okay? Anyway, so he had to make a phone call. And he called his sponsor, and his sponsor picked him up there. And they said, since he hasn't had a good meal in like 27 years, they said, where would you like to go eat? What do you want? And he said he wanted a steak dinner. So they took him to the famous Taylor's Steakhouse, which is downtown LA. It's one of the OG steakhouses. It's really old. It's a great steakhouse. It's in K-Town. If you don't know what K-Town means, it means Koreatown. And he went to stay at Taylor's. Imagine going into a restaurant like Taylor's Steakhouse, very bougie, very nice, and you just came home from prison. You probably just have like, very basic like sweats and stuff, because that's when you see a lot of prisoners come home. They just give them like sweats and a big t-shirt. And they put a steak knife on the table, like real utensils. It was his first time in 27 years ever using utensils, like for real utensils, having a knife in his hand. He was like, what is this? And he had to learn once again how to cut on a plate. And he'd never forget it. To hold a knife, to cut with a knife, to eat like a proper person. He told me that when he would hear a child laugh or cry, just hearing the sound of a child, a baby, he said it would make him cry. Because when you're away in prison and you don't get visitors, you don't get this, you don't hear children. Nothing. He told me a story about his pets. He had lizards for pets. You're not allowed to have a lizard, but he had a lizard, and he told me he's about a special story about his one of his favorite pets named Leo, and that Leo would live in his pocket, his shirt pocket, and he had this little lizard that he would that was his pet, and he was a very very obedient little lizard. He told me about how other prisoners had pets. He told me about walks on the yard and what that meant to him, and how when you're in prison, men communicate differently because they're raising one another. And how a lot of men, when they come out of prison, are alpha males because they've learned, they were taught to be a man by other men. Believe it or not. He also said that camaraderie in prison is much more solidified and stronger than it is here in out here in life. That he says he really felt connected to the guys that he was in life with, because and that the way they communicated was a lot different than the way people communicate out here in the free world. He also said that you do a lot of reading and you do a lot of writing. So his reading skills and his writing skills are impeccable. His choice of words, language, everything is very refined, and that's something that's very common for prisoners because they read a lot. Art, he took a lot of art classes, so he's an artist in very different forms of mediums. He does oil work. He likes to work with oils. He likes to work with raku, so he's done some pottery, and you know he's just a very good human being. And his relationships with people are much more deeper and more heartfelt than many of us can experience. And I think it's because in life, we're very distracted. Imagine we have to pay bills, we have to keep up with the Joneses. Imagine being in toxic marriages. Now, grant you, prison life is hard. He talked about it. Hey, ma'am, we can't hear you clearly. I'll just get a little bit closer to the mic then, okay? But prison life is not easy, but there's two types of prisons. There's real prison, and then there's the prisoner of the soul, that even if you're out living in freedom, consumerism is a prison of the soul, right? Vanity is a prison of the soul. And being materialistic is also a prison of the soul. So there's a lot to be learned from people who are in prison. There's a lot, especially when you meet them. Oh, and I want you to know, you will never ever know who you meet in the world. I remember my husband and I at a presentation, and little did we know that the person who was giving this heartfelt presentation was also a prisoner. And my husband got it out of him because he saw his tattoos. And he was like, my husband made a comment about the tattoos. And he says, oh, he got him to tell who he was. And they were talking about how they walk around the streets, they drive, they're on the same freeways as you, they're in the sitting next to you at church, and you would never know it, And it's amazing how people live their lives and how contrasting that you can see when you've been in prison. You can see the prisons that are out there in real life. people have prisoner of the spirit and in their soul. So, guys, I have been here now for 90 minutes, and I love how this conversation transitioned. And this is exactly where I wanted it to go. And I do really appreciate every single one of you being here, tolerating me this whole time. And feel free, just, you know what? Leave a comment, but leave a comment of engagement. Don't leave a cheeky comment, because if you do, I'm going to give you a timeout. Okay? But I appreciate you being here with me. I absolutely love every single one of you. If I gave you a timeout, I'll see you again tomorrow. All right? And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.